Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. And believe me, no one's more surprised than we are that we're here right now. But this is how things are going to be going from now on. We mentioned a little earlier this week, Jamie and I are going to start the stream most days, unless we have an alert days. We did earlier this week. So those of you that are just excited to hear from Michael, same. But he'll be here in just a few minutes. Don't you worry about that. So let's go ahead and jump into our headlines. The first one is actually coming out of Webster County, where officials are asking for the public's help to find an ATV driver. Webster County Emergency Management says it would be in the Diamond area, potentially near the T intersection off Bill Doris Road. They say someone may be in trouble.
Yeah, if you are aware of anyone who was possibly riding in this area last night or early this morning, or even if you know of someone who has not returned home as expected, then you need to call Webster County Dispatch immediately. Officials say they want to make sure this person is safe. Now, they do want to make it clear that the person is not in any sort of trouble legally, but they just want to make sure they're safe. So our Gabe Pontonis is actually on scene of this search that he sent us a photo of that you're seeing here on your screen. He's gathering some more details about what exactly is going on here in that search. And of course, he's going to share more information with us tonight on 14 News.
Now straight into our second headline here. Keeping our eyes on the roads, Vanderburgh County leaders are working to make improvements to 1 Evansville Road. The county commissioners held a meeting this week to discuss safety and appearance concerns on North St. Joseph Avenue. After evaluating some data, they saw there's an issue with speeding and trash on the road.
Yeah, that's right. So county commissioners say the sheriff's office is now working with them to set up some deputies there along St. Joe to help cut down on those speeders, along with any sort of objects and trash flying out of the trucks onto the road. This is very close to the dump, so a lot of trucks travel through that area. Things often fly out if they're not tarped down, so that's been a problem. Vanderburgh County Commissioner Justin Elper says, just a heads up here, drivers can expect to start seeing those sheriff's deputies on patrol on North St. Joe, especially during the morning and evening commutes. Our Leslie Chapman's going to have more on this initiative tonight.
You've been warned, you bunch of animals.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there and they're looking for you. Well, that is going to wrap up our headlines today. So stick around here in just a moment more. Michael Thecka will be back with our forecast.
Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Thecka. Welcome back to the afternoon streaming update. Of course, we just saw our top news headlines from Jamie and Rob. Now we're going to transition over to a look at our weather headlines here. So let's get started with a look at those headlines. And of course, it's kind of obvious. It's kind of a little bit of a gross day out there. And it looks like my graphics are freezing up on me. And there we go. We're starting a countdown, actually. But let's skip past that and look at those headlines. Okay, so we've got scattered rain moving through for the rest of the day. Now, again, it has lightened up a little bit. Most of us just getting some mist, especially north of the Ohio River. A lot of the more persistent rain hanging out over western Kentucky right now. And I do think we'll enter a little bit of a lull here across the board once we get into this evening. But more rain will be on the way overnight tonight and into tomorrow, but that will allow us to dry out nicely as we head into the weekend. So that's the one positive here. While it is going to be a little bit of a rainier Friday, at least Saturday and Sunday will make up for it. And then there is more rain on the way for the start of next week. So this active weather pattern kind of sticking around with us and continuing at least into next week. But here's a look at our current conditions. Many of us are cloudy, fairly cool, and again, kind of drizzly or misty depending on where you are. Again, over western Kentucky. Kentucky, you're seeing a lot more of that persistent rainfall, so picking up on that rain in Madisonville, temps sitting at around 55. Here in Evansville, it's cloudy and a little bit foggy, temperatures sitting in the lower 50s this afternoon. Now, looking at some sky cams again, you can see visibility's a little bit reduced. They have been gradually improving throughout the day, but none of them have been 100%. I think the worst of the visibilities currently are sitting over areas like southern Illinois, only around 3 miles visibility up towards Fairfield 7 in Henderson. But here's a look at the actual radar. We've got our warm front that's continuing to kind of lift up to the north through the rest of this afternoon, but it is going to nearly become stationary overnight tonight, and that's just going to continue to guide in some of those scattered showers and even a few thunderstorms tonight and into tomorrow. But here's where the rain is set up right now, mostly through Webster, McLean, Ohio, Hopkins, and Muhlenberg County. Everywhere north of there looking dry at this hour, but that will likely change once we get into the late night hours. So temperatures will hang out in the lower 50s through the rest of this afternoon and into tonight, really not even cooling down all that much. That cloud cover helps to insulate everything overnight. So it's not going to be a chilly start to tomorrow, just more of the same upper 50s and into the lower 60s by tomorrow afternoon. More showers and even a few thunderstorms will be possible. So let's time everything out here through the rest of today and into our Friday. Here's around 6:30 tonight. We're seeing some of the scattered shower activity finally pushing off to the east. This is that lull I was talking about, not really seeing a whole ton of persistent rain, just a few patchy areas of drizzle. But once we get into the overnight into early tomorrow morning, that's when more of the rain will fill in. And you can see some of those oranges and yellows indicating more moderate, maybe even heavier pockets of rain lifting up through Friday morning. But once we get into Friday afternoon, it looks like we'll enter another bit of a lull there to where we could dry out. I think we'll stay cloudy, but this model does want to bring a few breaks of sun, at least through western Kentucky, as the final cold front finally lifts out of here through the late night hours of Friday and into Saturday. I think that's where we could see maybe even a few thunderstorms there, but more importantly is it is going to dry us out as we head into the weekend. Now, in terms of our severe weather threat, we're not outlooked for any severe thunderstorms today or for tomorrow. But again, some of these storms, of course, can always become stronger and produce some isolated gusty winds and things like that. So I don't want to completely take that off the table, but it doesn't look like too much of a concern here with instability being very low. But in terms of rainfall amounts, still looking at beneficial rainfall, anywhere between a half an inch all the way up to an inch is expected widespread across the tri-state. The heavier amounts of rain still seem to be backed off to our southwest through areas like southern Missouri, eastern Oklahoma, and western Arkansas there. So that's where they were kind of looking at some severe storms yesterday and even some flooding issues. But not for us here in the tri-state, more just beneficial rainfall. But looking at the weekend forecast, the showers and thunderstorms clear out of here overnight Friday into early Saturday morning. So we may have a few lingering showers as we wake up for the first part of the weekend, but we should be drying out through the day and we should still see plenty of sunshine. And then same thing on Sunday. Plenty of sunshine, dry out there, high pressure builds in, and temperatures also hang out in the upper 50s to lower 60s, so almost perfect for this time of year. But unfortunately, our little dry spell doesn't last very long. We start to have another system move back in for the start of next week. Monday into Tuesday, we're tracking out another chance of some widespread rain. So here's what that looks like on our European model. High pressure builds in through the weekend, pushes off to our east through Monday. I still think we'll get some sunshine for Monday, but clouds will be increasing through the day and eventually breaking out into some shower activity Monday night into Tuesday. And then all of this begins to wrap up early Wednesday morning with a few wraparound rain showers. And this cold front, particularly for the start of next week, is going to usher in a much cooler air mass for us. So temperatures are going to be a lot different for Thanksgiving than they are for today. So a big drop in those temps expected across much of the United States, including portions of the tri-state and the Ohio River Valley there, highlighted in that blue color. So here's a look at that early Thanksgiving Day forecast. It looks like it'll be dry, cold as of right now, partly cloudy. Temperatures should be sitting somewhere in the mid-40s. So I think it's a perfect day for all that good comfort food that we're all going to be sitting down and enjoying. But here's a look at your 7-day forecast, just to kind of wrap everything up for you in a little bit of a bow. We've got more rain on the way through tonight and into tomorrow. Dry through the weekend, temps in the upper 50s to lower 60s, and temperatures look to stay in the lower 60s through Monday and Tuesday with more rain on the way. But behind that system, that's where we see that cool down just in time for Thanksgiving. Temps drop all the way down into the mid-40s. But that is all I've got here for the forecast, so I'm going to hop off the live stream and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 4, 5, and 6 for the latest news and weather headlines. And of course, we'll be back here for our 9 p.m. weather streaming show on streaming only, and then back on 14 News at 10 o'clock tonight. So don't miss anything. Stay safe and have a great rest of your day.